if that works.
There we go. Yes, perfect, Abed. So, hello all. I know there's a few more yet to join, but in the interest of time, as we said, we'd start at 1 o'clock. I'd like to welcome you all to the webinar, Hadoop Enabling Data-Driven Strategy. We're excited to bring you the webinar aimed at bringing together the top talent in the market and educating people. An interesting and important topic that I'm sure most, if not all, of you data leaders will have at the forefront of your mind. Abed is a highly respected data leader in the data analytics world, having been nominated for the UK Top 40 Data Professionals for 2017. So I've got no doubt you'll enjoy the next hour and no doubt learn some interesting points too. Just a quick note here, RP Analytics will be offering a free 1-hour consultation to everyone in attendance today. Whether you're looking for your next role in big data and Hadoop or looking to recruit top talent in this area for your team, we're going to be able to assist you on this. So just keep an eye on your inbox after the webinar and I'll send over some more details. So thank you, hope you all enjoy, and over to you, Abed.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Hi everyone. So I said previously, so I'm leading data team in First Utility. I hope everyone can hear me very well. So we start. So today we're talking about Hadoop, the big data, and how we can use Hadoop and the big data in a data strategy in the company. So I will talk mostly about my company. However, I will talk also about all the discussion I've got with other people in other companies. So so it will be good after that if you can ask questions at the end of the webinar, and we can have a very good chat about this. So first, about First Utility, what we try to achieve is to put the customer in control of the data. So what we try to achieve is to get the best deal for the customer, and both have also great services, and by that also give to the customers a lot of data, and they can understand more the bill, understand more how they consume, and how they can reduce their usage, and how we can preserve the healthiness of our world. So this is the aim of First Utility, is not to giving giving a lot of power. It's not about giving the cheapest price in the business. It's also to be fair, giving also a great product, and give you the control of your usage of the energy. So now First Utility is not just about energy; it's also about telecoms, and we try to achieve the same spirit in the telecoms. So you can ask me, okay, what's the link between First Utility and Hadoop? There is different way to see the link between Hadoop and First Utility. The first thing is to say, okay, First Utility is try to compete what we call the big six in the energy, and Hadoop is better and try to compete the big four in the software. So the big four for everyone is obviously the big four in software, so Microsoft, Oracle, IBM, and SAP. Obviously, we have all the challenges to beat and be better than the big six. It could be one of the link, however, is not that. We are using Hadoop in First Utility to obviously to meet the big data space and to have a better way to use the data and have a better data driven company, and put the data in a better way, and have a better data driven strategy. So when I talk about Hadoop with other colleagues in the data, sometimes we got quite a very good debate about the view of the big data. So if I try to summarize this, we are using in First Utility a lot of data. So in the industry, the market of the industry, we are using in the energy, we are using a lot of data. External data is the industry data. We are using also a lot of transactional data, like every customers, every business are using the interaction of the customers, and also we are using data internally, and we are building this what we call the data insight platform. And at the end of the webinar, we'll show you some slide about the architecture behind. So we are roughly three, I can say four streams of operationally how we use this platform. The first is putting the data in operational process. So we are using data insight platform to also give data in more operational way, so the customer can see really what's happened to his bills, to also his consumptions, and in a lot of ways. We are using data insight also to cover what we call dashboarding and business decision. So it's more about the business intelligence platform that is covered. And also we are using data insight platform to doing some predictive analytics, so to get more forecasting and get more smarter with data. So these every type of initiative in the data is correlated about we call a business case, and putting the customers in front of this business case. For instance, the operational process, we allow to have a better service for customers. The dashboarding, we allow to optimize the business and give the best price to a customer. And the predictive analytics give to the customer better knowledge of their consumptions, of the bill, and we have some apps that gives to the customers a better way to forecast the energy and to predict what will happen. So we are creating this data platform only about, we are just focusing about business value. So how we can use data for a business, creating business value for clients and for business, and after that create more business value to get that to the customers level. So when we talk about data insight platform, some people are talking about the technology side, some people are talking about the business side. The problem is that this whole subject is cross these two areas. So people sometimes, when I'm talking with my colleagues in data, some people are talking about this viewing in different ways, and sometimes we have a very great debate. So I summarize by this picture. So for me, the big data is exactly what was the picture show. So people said, okay, we can do big data with the old way we are using data. So I have a very good data 3 years ago about big data. Some people just say, okay, it's a buzzword. I don't believe it. Big data is just about forecasting the same thing. So the aim of the big data is to do some more churn and to understand more the customers, to make more value. So this is something that we are doing 20 years, 30 years ago. So what's the point? And what I try to explain here is that the solution is not every time responding the same problem. So we are facing right now another problem that we never seen in the past in the IT and in the business. So when I try to argue this problem is more about, okay, if we are using big data just for doing churn, to understand more the customers and who will churn, okay, we can argue that we can do that for another way. However, when you try to go at data level, when you try to understand all the interactions, when we try to get at the segment of one, personalize everything for one customer. I don't believe that the whole platform, IT platform, can support this kind of new age of using the data and create more business value. We are at this moment of time in our world that people want to have something different, want to have something at their level. So that means we need to treat our customers not by the old-fashioned way and say, oh, this customer is belong to this spot, so I will do exactly the same at this cluster. We need to treat the customer as a customer and personalize quite everything. So how we can do that with a basic way to see the data and try to segment uh, as we used to do 10 years ago. And also, it's not just about big data. It's not just about the volume. It's not just about getting more data and more data and more data. We need to analyze it. We need to have a platform that is very, very, very scalable and very fast. And how we can process huge data sets in a small time and deliver that in a quick manner. So when we understand this, when we are trying to understand what exists in the IT side to cover these purposes, again, business purposes, uh, we don't find a lot of way technically right now at this moment. So that's why in Facility we believe in Hadoop, and it's not just a technical way. It's also we are facing a lot of subject that I will try to cover in this webinar. So if we are talking about the old way to analyze the data, we probably talk about a data warehouse that every business should have. The data warehouse, it was great. It was the first thing that we think about, getting all the data in the company and try to create more insight and let the business getting better, getting smarter, and try to drive them to do a better decision. That was the mindset of the data warehouse. However, data warehouse is now very, very old concept. So, and we are reach this maturity of the level of the data warehouse. So this is something that I found very useful from Forrester. So it's called the MPP of data warehouse, so the massing processing parallel data warehouse that reach this maturity level. So we can see all the different technology coming, and we see that the data warehouse has reached the top of what he can deliver in the business. So the question is more about how we can continue, how we can bring new value, which area we need to grow to get at the next stage. So how we can industrialize, how we can get on a new version of the data warehouse, and what we should do. And this is something very, very interesting coming from TWI, which explain which issues that the companies will face by modernize the data warehouse. It shows that in this survey that the organization, mostly the people, and new technology business cases has been the top subject that is the barriers of the data warehouse, of the modernization of the data warehouse. And this is what I want to share in the next few minutes about what we've done in this area to cover and to make sure that this modernization of the data warehouse is something possible and what we have faced in first utility, and what you should face if you are going in the same subject, in the same area, and what you will discover. So basically, what we've done in the data insight team is covered in these 4 areas. So we talk about technology. So basically, what it means an IT transformation from a basic SQL database or a DBMS SQL database to the NoSQL space. And by that way, we can not just only collecting more data, but also analyze very quickly more data. The second space is more about people. So that means roughly to reskill. That means to hire a new data roles, but that means also communication, training, coaching, and also a new way to address a data project. Why new way? We will see that because at this new age, when we get more data, when we get more better way to analyze data, we need to be careful about what we can achieve and what we will find in the data. So that's the amazing thing that will happen when we analyze data, is we don't know what we will discover. So that will probably need another way to do a project. So we can't have someone who will give you the requirements and we know exactly what to do, and because we know exactly what will be the output. That's not possible anymore. So that means another way to do data. But by the way, at this subject, I wrote an article that explained a new methodology about this kind of project. In terms of organization, that's not surprising. The data initiative need to be linked with the business areas and also data team. So all these data governance is not something different. So the data governments need to be set up even if you are building a data lake. And we will see how we've done that in our team. And obviously the business value. So how we can get more insight in the data. So how we can build some more predictive analytics to resolve business issues. So again, that's something interesting. When you are talking about data, when you are doing a project about data, we need to start with some issues, with some problems to resolve. Otherwise, it will be just a new playground, and it will be hard to understand what will be the achievement. By experience, it's even when you start with a business issue, it's sometimes very hard to find something, and when you find something, it's also a long journey to make it happen and to move it in the real space. So starting with no issues, it will be hard after that to put that in the real world. And obviously the right methodology to face this kind of project. So I will go through these 4 spaces and give you a little bit of context in these 4 areas. So let's talk about technology. So in first utility, as I said, so we got quite a lot of data, and also by getting the smart meters data, you could imagine that is going to be huge. And so we need to have a platform that we can store this data, but not just storing, we need also a scalable environment that we can analyze the data and process it and correlate with other data sets. So that's why we use heavily Hadoop. So what component we are using in Hadoop? We are using in the SQL world, we are using Impala, and in the data science layer, we are using heavily Spark. So it's not just that, because we are moving now from Impala to Kudu, which is a new framework that has been released by Kudura. And on top of that, we are using Zoom data to do some more data visualization. So that gives us, with this platform, that gives us a better agility, obviously, that help us to get more data discovery very quickly. So obviously we can collect more data, and it's more scalable, and we are using a better tool to analyze very, very, very heavy data. So some data is very scalable in top of Impala. So in terms of people, so that means a lot of reskills and training and coaching. So we're starting in the warehouse in SQL Server. So that means a complete change from store procedures to SQL query. So obviously Impala in SQL query is not a transact SQL. So that means a lot of way to do differently. And in data science layer, we are using R still right now. However, R is quite need a lot of memory. So when we are processing a lot of data, we are using more Scala, which enable in Spark. And obviously, new roles is coming in data insight. So need obviously Hadoop administrator to manage all the cluster, and also storyteller role, because we need in data insight having people who are very skilled in data visualization. These data visualization skills is sometimes missing in lots of data team, and it's fair to say that the data visualization is not well educated in the school. So that means we were wasting a lot of time for all the people in the business when they get some reports. Data visualization need to be very explained in the team. That's why we have some specialists in my team, and we can save time to the business, to the users, to get the real insight in less than 1 second. That's the new way to use dashboard and to use reports. We can't anymore at this day age let people reading a table or reading a report and try to understand it. If people spend more than 5-10 seconds in the report, that means there is something wrong. We need to change that and to understand what's wrong in this dashboard. So in terms of organization, it's very, very, very important to have a very good data governance and make sure that data insight team is not just seen as an IT department. It should be cross all the organization. So that means people should have a very good link and a very clear understanding of a business department, and link to a data steward that is responsible of their environment and of their data. So that's why it's very important to have a better organization in in the business in terms of data, and make sure that you have a data business partner per business department that bring you a lot of context, a lot of way to resolve issues. And in terms of business values and predictive analytics, so clear three big streams here without going into much details. The first way is to do some predictive signals. So that means is more about optimizing and enable a relation in the signals. So we have lot of initiatives around signals. So when we detect the signals, we are putting that in a business value and see how we can optimize our business behind that. Smart discovery is more about to give to the customers more and more knowledge about the usage, about how they perform, about maybe a problem in their consumptions, and give this data to make the customer smarter. And also we are using very good analytics in terms of transparency. So it's more about to understand more the internal processing and to understand the gaps in our business. And this transparency gives us more view of our business and to see where are the gaps and how we can close them and make our business more efficient. So obviously we are starting to look at the deep learning side. So we are just in the starting point here, but obviously a lot of a new thing to explore and get there. So finally, having a data-driven company is obviously flipping the new way to consume the data. So if you go back to the old age of the BI and the data warehouse, so the business people are asking a question, and after that we got a request, and the IT people is preparing the answer, getting a request, planning, and resolving the request, and get back the answer to the business. So that's the old way to use the data and to use a data team for a business query. So the best way, that's why we are flipping the way to use the data is to creating first this data insight platform. When I said creating first, is not to creating all creating a platform that is completely use all the data you've got. That should be incremental. However, it's preparing a scalable data platform that will enable the business to ask their own question, and they can use this platform in a scalable manner. So that's the way to get the data more efficient and giving the way to drive the company by the data. So obviously it's not just that. So this is something that I shared with a lot of my colleagues in the data, and finally we found two different areas that should be the challenges of the chief data officer. So the two older areas is the independency. So is very important in a company that the person who is taking the role of the chief data officer will be independent. Why we need to be independent or linking to the board? Because because he will find a lot of things in the data. When you got this data platform, when you got all the data in the company and also external data, you will find a lot of way to optimize the business, a lot of way to change the business, a lot of way to create a new thing. So that could be sometimes embarrassing for another departments. That could be sometimes highlighting a big gaps in some areas. If the chief data officer is not independent, that means his role is restricting. He need to be agnostic. He need to have the right to say what he wants. Anyway, it's not his saying, it's a data saying. So he need to be completely independent. So we talk about technology, we talk about the people, we talk about the alignment, we talk about data value, and also the right balance. Why the right balance? Because we talk about flipping the subject in the last slide. So that gives to the business a lot of power, giving the way to use the data, giving the way to analyze the data, and giving that will make them smarter. However, the chief data officer also have the right to analyze himself the data. So that gives a way to have the right balance, is to give the self-serve service to the business, allow them to analyze, allow them to do their analysis for their own purposes. However, chief data officer should be also responsible to do something else, do something that no one will ask, no one will be interesting on, and sometimes people I don't think that is possible to analyze, that think that's not possible to gain there. So the chief data officer should also close this gap and take some time in this area and do some more research. Again, a research with again a business issue behind. So I will close this first subject, and I will just share with you some slides about architecture. So to go a little bit more technical. So we talk about this data platform, data insight platform. So in top of Hadoop. So we have in Facility a Hadoop cluster. So it's a Cloudera distribution, and I just want to share with you how it looks like. So this is our technical architecture, and so we have 13 nodes. So this platform is completely using our LDAP system, which is an Active Directory, and even a developer analyst is an analyst, someone who has access to the cluster to do some analysis, is using the same cluster. So when I talk about this cluster, this Hadoop cluster with a lot of colleagues who are doing the same path, I saw a lot of companies doing exactly what they used to do in the old age. I will say the old age, because people used to have different environment. People used to have the dev environment, the live environment, the test environment, the pre-prod environment, maybe the integration environment. So when I share with you this is our cluster, and you can ask me, okay, where we should do the development, where we should do the pre-prod, where we should do the testing, where is the live version. And this is how we can use also the technology to be smart, because Hadoop has resource management. So I would call it just be smart and rethink the new age of architecture. So we have in our cluster we have 3 environments, but in the same cluster. So what it means? That means we are not doing that. We are not having a dev cluster. We are not having an integration cluster and prod cluster. This is something wrong if you have that in your business, because Hadoop can manage that by himself, and this is waste of time. This is waste of money, and you know how it looks like. Everyone discover that when you're doing some dev with a small part of the data, we're going to test, or I didn't see this case because I don't have this data in my dev environment, etc., etc., etc. It's waste of time, waste of money, and also we don't have the full view of the data. So we are taking the advantage of the resource management of Hadoop, and we are using the same Hadoop cluster, and everything is managing by the resource management of Hadoop. And if you are a developer, if you are a tester, if you are an analyst, obviously you have different roles. So you see different data, and a developer has the right to write in dev, but not to write in test, etc., etc., etc. So we are using Hadoop to managing, also to be smart in the way to use this cluster and to save money to our business, but to be more agile and to go faster in our project. So I think that was my last slide. I hope it was helpful. So I'm happy to get some questions if you have. Obviously, we can keep contact. So I'm happy to link with you in LinkedIn, and also available in Twitter. So if you have some questions, we can go further. Should I open the questions? If you have some.
If you have any questions, you can just, there should be a chat button at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions, if you'd like to type them into the chat button, and then Abed will be able to see these and answer. Okay.
So very good question. So the question is, what has been the biggest challenge for you to move to Hadoop architecture? I don't know if you're talking about me or the team. I'm using Hadoop till 2012 now. So honestly, I can't remember what was my big challenge. In 2012, it was for me the fun thing. So it was a new thing about the big data. Honestly, it was only fun. So I can't remember when it was the biggest challenge. Hadoop has evolved a lot. So when I'm using the first version of Hadoop, my first version of Hadoop, it was an old, very, very old version. So so I was amazed how it's evolved quickly. So this is something that surprised a lot of people. How it's quick, so how the version is going very fast, how we get to the new version very quickly. It's not like the old way to see IT. We don't have a new version every 4 or 5 months. We have a new version every 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know if the question is about the team or is about myself. Um, Myself, honestly, the biggest challenge was just probably to understand how we can use Hadoop to get a better data platform. So there is a lot of challenge in the past about what we can do, what we can't do, what was the limitations. Um, However, is the new way to use data. So if we want to get there, if we want to use a lot of data, if we want to get the capability of the real time, if you want to analyze huge data sets, there is not a lot of choice right now. So um, so the question is about the team or is about myself? I'm not sure. Yeah, it was in general. So so the answer to my question, it was in general. So the biggest challenge, if I change the subject about the team is what I said, is more about to make sure that they are, the biggest challenge for them is to move from their comfort zone, so people are comfortable in some skills. So it's not be afraid of getting there. So the biggest challenge is more about to make sure that people are getting there, to have the right coaching, to spend time with people and make sure that they're on board, and they they also have fun about this, because it's honestly it's very fun when you're going at this stage of you can do a lot of things that you will struggle in a basic database, in a DBMS database. It's fun because you discover a lot of new things. So I have no another question. Thank you very much. I would like to know more about the project that you are running or planning to run in terms of personalization the data to each customers. Yeah, that's an ongoing project about the segment of one. So we are, yes, that's the new thing about the big data. We can personalize the thing per customer. So we have a project right now about personalize a lot of things for the customer, and treating the customer as as a customer and not as a cluster. Um, and we are at the stage of doing some testing. So that that's the good spirit to make a small test and check that it has a very good understanding in the customer, and the customer like it. So if the test is going well, we will probably going in the next level and try to extend that to all the customers, and after that probably to all the prospects. How will the CEOs and the CDOs be encouraged to embrace the new method of data analysis using the Hadoop architecture? Okay, so for me, the CEOs and CDOs should be the sponsors of the Hadoop architecture. If they need to be encouraged to go in that way, if they need to be encouraged to embrace the new way to use the data, there is something wrong here. Um, so they should be, for me, they should be the sponsor. If they are not the sponsor, that means there may be something wrong in their role, and um, they, they should be concerned about what's happened right now in the world, and get there. So we have another question about, I hope I answer clearly the answer. If not, don't hesitate to reply and ask more details question. So question from Tony, do you find it a challenge to find those top quality team member? Good question. So about recruitment, about people and how to recruit a very good top quality. So for me, my spirit is more about, it's not about the top quality of 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 the people. For me, it's more about uh, people who want to be involved in this area, who have the spirit of, I want to learn new thing, I want to get there, I want to have fun with the data, I want to explore, I want to explore a new environment. I'm not afraid to learn. So for me, this is the most important thing of a new a candidate or someone who wants to enter in my team. This is the spirit that we should have in every data insight team, because I show you this platform I shared with you a couple of minutes ago. If I share with you the first data insight platform 3 years ago, it was also, you had, it was completely different. And this is how we can better, what we can use in our environment to get in better. So that involve a lot of technology watch. That involve a spirit of I will test the new framework and see what is useful in our context and how we can use it. That involve a lot of learning. That involve not any frightness, and that involve the spirit of I can do it. So that's 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 for me the most important. Is not the skills about to having, and someone who has 10 years experience in Hadoop. That's not that's good to have. However, I saw some candidates who have a lot of certification, a lot of experiences, but they also use Hadoop in the old way. So what I share with you about this different environment with Hadoop, different clusters, I saw that with people who has been certified, people who has experience in Hadoop, and because they used to do that in the old age of data and try to keep the same thing. So this is my view anyway. So I hope I answered this question. So the next one is, do you find stakeholders buying into this concept big data Hadoop easily, or is it an ongoing challenge? That's a good question. So when you're talking about stakeholders, probably you talk about the business people. So what is very nice in Facility is that the CEO, so my boss, and we are completely aligned in this strategy. So we are completely aware of this change of data. So we are completely aligned in this strategy. For the business people, they, they, they just want that works. They just want to have data in more efficient way. When you go to reports that take billions of rows and is running, and they can click on it and refresh in a second. They, for them, they don't know there is billions row behind, or there is 2 rows. So they buy it. Yes, when you're talking about having an environment that we can do mostly what we want, is scalable, and so that's fine for them. I hope I answered this question. I have another one. What has been the biggest challenge for you to move in Hadoop? So I already answered this one. Is there a large amount of ETL process that were needed to be created to move the data to a Hadoop environment? Also, it is done in Hadoop itself? Which ETL tool are you using? Recommend? So we don't use a proper ETL tool in our environment. So what we are using is when we are getting the data from RDMS data, for instance, Postgres or SQL Server, we are using Scoop. And we are using Scoop in the shell command, in shell scripts. And when we are using um, data from another NoSQL database like Cassandra, we are using Spark. However, we are looking at something open source right now. So there is one tool that we are looking at right now, which is very interesting, and you can look at it. Is very good framework. Is called StreamSet, and is very good tool right now. And however, there is this new version coming about the security layer that we need to have in our cluster. But if I recommend an ETL tool, open source, I will recommend StreamSet if you want to have one. Any other questions? So I hope I answer all the questions. So thank you for your time. Thank you to being with me. And I hope you enjoy the webinar.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Abed. Just from myself and RP Analytics, I'd like to give a big thank you to you for the excellent presentation and your time today. Also for everyone attending today, I hope you all found it informative and useful. And just as mentioned previously, we'll be sending everyone out an exclusive 1 hour slot with us at RP Analytics. So just look at your inboxes, and we hope to see you all tuned into the next one of RP Analytics webinar series. So once again, thank you very much, Ben. Very good.
Thank you everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.